Welcome to part 3 of our tutorial on how to build a thread clone. In today's session, we will create a model for our thread message entity, build the set screen and also the thread post screen as well. So if you haven't watched the previous two parts of this tutorial, where we designed the login, sign up and the field screen, and also authenticate the user with Firebase, I've linked them down in the description below so you can check them out first. So with that being said, let's get started. So in here, we wouldn't always be repeating this thread message post over here, right? So we need to create a model for that. So within my lib folder, I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to name this folder as the model. So within the model folder is going to be a file. And the file name is going to be the thread message. That's where you're going to create our model. So within this file, let's create a class of a thread message. So within the thread message, right, we are accessing the ID of the thread. So I'll create a couple of times in here. We also need the sender name and also the sender profile image URL. And also the message itself as well, the timestamp. The number of likes, so the likes count, and also the retweet count. So it's going to be of type int. And the last property is going to be the comment count, right? So I'll just repeat that over here. So we need to create a final field in the constructor as well, right? So in here I'll generate a JSON serialization over here, right? So it's basically an extension that comes with the to map, from map to JSON and also from JSON method, right? So it's an extension. I think it's called that data class generator. Yeah, there it is. So you can just install that. So when you create a model and it generates JSON serialization, it comes with to map, from map to JSON and also from JSON, right? So it's really handy. So let's fix the error over here, right? So we need to pass in the ID, the sender name, the sender profile image URL, the message itself, the timestamps over here, the likes count over here, and also the retweet count and the comment count as well. So that's it. Let's save any changes. So basically the extension is really handy. It comes with the to map, from map to JSON and also from JSON, right, with just a single click. So below this I'm going to be having a list of thread messages, right? That's just a sample, right? A sample list of thread messages. So it comes with the ID, the sender name, the sender profile image URL, the message, timestamp, likes count, comments count, and also the retweet count. So I just create a sample of a list of it. So I'll be getting rid of these thread messages, right? So let's center the image as well. So I'll wrap it within a center widget. So below here I'll be returning a list view builder, right? So the list view builder comes with the item builder, and the item builder is basically a function that is in the context and also the index and returns a widget, right? And also the list view builder takes in the item count, and that's going to be from our thread message length, right? So within the item builder we need to return our thread message. Oh, sorry, the name conflicts with it, so I will rename this thread message to thread message widget, right? So it will differ from our model. So I can just return this thread message widget, right? So within the thread message widget over here, I'll be creating an instance of our thread message model, right? So funnel thread message, that's our model. Then I'll create a variable that's the message. So let's require that in the constructor as well. There you go. So we need to pass the message to the thread message widget over here, and that's going to be from our thread message. Then we access the index. So within our thread message widget, let's get rid of the image over here and return the circle avatar, right? So the circle avatar comes with a background image. So in here we specify network image. We want to access the image online, right? We'll be hitting a particular endpoint, API endpoint that gets us a random image, and that's the dice bear, avatar dice bear, and this is the API endpoint, https:/avatar.dicebear.com/API/avatar. Notice here the avatar is AAA slash the message.sender name. So this basically comes with a unique avatar for each sender, right? And let's set the background color of this avatar to colors.white. There you go. Okay, so in here this extension of this image is going to be PNG, right? So we need to fix that. There you go. So let's set a shrink wrap to true and saving the changes and hot restart. There you go. You can see the effect. You can see avatar has been generated for each thread message post, right? So in here we need to change the default name to as message.sender name, right? And also the default message to our message.message. Let's get rid of the cons in here. There we go. So below here I'll be creating a function that will be returning a string, right? So this basically gets the time difference for us, right? So I'll be creating a time difference function. So we need to pass in the timestamp. So I'll create a variable now, and that's basically going to get our current date for us, right? So it's going to be datetime.now. And also I'll be creating a difference variable over here. And also the difference variable basically takes the now, which has a difference method on it, and we are going to pass in our timestamp, right? So that basically calculates the difference for us. So let's check the state of our difference, right? So if our difference dot in minutes is less than 1, meaning there was just a post, right? So we are going to return a string of just now. Else if our difference dot in hours, right? If that is also less than 1, we are going to return our difference in minutes. Then we pass in our minutes to it. There you go. Else if our difference in days is also less than 1, we are basically going to return our difference in hours. Then we attach the hour So the default case is going to be the days, right? We are going to return our difference in days. Then we pass in the day. So this is basically the function that will get a time difference for us, right? So within where I'm returning the time, right, I'll be returning our function that will get a time difference. We need to pass in the message dot timestamp, right? Let's get rid of the const in here and save in the changes. You can see over here the effect 42 minutes, 37 minutes, right? So that's basically it. Within our home screen, right, let's move into our set screen and proceed from here. So let me get rid of this center widget, right? So let's start with the safe area view from being at the notch area, right? So the safe area view takes in the column. So the column requires the children. In here you can specify multiple widgets over here. So the first widget is going to be our test widget, right? So in here we need to pass in a test of search, as you can see over there. So let's start our test, right? So with the start attribute, we can provide it a test style. So let's provide it a font size of 26 and also bold in our test as well. First of all, let's wrap the column within a padding and apply it to all sides, a value of 20, and saving the changes. So let's bold in our test from here. So font weight dot bold. There you go. So below the text is going to be a container, right? That's going to be our search field, right? So let's provide the container a width, right? And the width is going to be our double dot infinity. So that basically takes the width of the entire screen, right? And the height is going to be 35. So let's rename the sizable to container. So decoration comes with the box decoration. In here you can specify color over here, and the color is going to be colors.gray. It's going to be 300. So let's save in the changes. There you go. As you can see, the effect over here. So let's set the main axis alignment of the column to be main axis alignment dot start, right? So let's wrap the container within a padding widget. So the padding is only going to affect the top, a value of 12. So let's save in the changes over here. Let's proceed to give a border radius to the container, right? So border radius dot circular. Then we pass in a value of 12. So the child of the container is going to be a text form field, right? That's our input. So it takes in the decoration, which is going to take in an input decoration. So within the input decoration, let's provide a hint text, more or less like a placeholder, right? So the hint text is going to be search. And also let's give it a border, right? And that's going to be an input border dot none. We don't want any border around it. Search input. Let's proceed to provide it a preface icon, right? So it requires an icon. The icon is going to be the search icon. There you go. So let's wrap the pattern within a widget known as the single child scroll view to make the page scrollable, right? So in here I'll be creating a stateless widget, right? That's going to return suggested followers, right? So below the search input, we're going to have a list of suggested followers for you to follow or show you the one you're already following, right? So that's going to be a stateless widget over here called suggested follower widget. It's going to return a list style. So I need to provide a suggested follower widget below the padding over here so you can actually see what's going on. So let's save in the changes. So within the list style, testing the leading, right? The leading expect the widgets, and I'm going to provide the circular avatar, right? As you can see the effects over there. It also takes in the title. The title is going to be a test widget with a person's name. There you go. And also the subtitle, right? And that comes beneath the title. So with the subtitle, let's provide it a test widget as well. That's basically going to be the person's user's name. And also with the trailing, let's specify a row widget, right? The trailing place the icon or the widget at the very end within the list style, right? So within the row, let's provide a container, and let's set the alignment to be alignment dot center, right? We are going to center the chart of the whatever is found within the container. Oops. So let's give the container a width and height property, right? So with the width, let's set it to 110 and a height of 35. So let's set the main as a size to be main as a size dot main, right? To get rid of the errors. So with the creation of this container, this in the box decoration. So here we need to provide a border, right? That's going to be border.all. And we'll be providing a color, and the color is going to be colors.gray. There you go. Let's give it a border radius. So border radius was circular, then passing a value of 8. There you go. So basically the chart of this container is going to be a test widget, right? That indicates whether you are following the person or you are being a follow, right? There you go. So we can have multiple of these suggested followers over here, right? So when you save the change, you can see the effects over here. So as usual, let's proceed to create a model for these suggested follower widgets, right? So first of all, let's wrap the list style within a column and provide a divider. So each list style comes with a divider that separates the list style, as you can see. So let's provide some height over here, right? So with the size box, we can give it a height property. And let's set the height to 20. There you go. And also the main axis alignment needs to be changed to cross axis alignment, right? So the search text can be placed at the very end. Sorry, at the very beginning. So let's proceed to create the model for the suggested follower. So I'll create a file within the model folder. And I'm going to name this file as the suggested follower.dat. That's where we're going to create a suggested follower. So it's basically going to be a class. The class name is going to be suggested follower. So within the class, we'll be accessing the ID. That's going to be of type string. The username, and also the profile. Yeah, the profile image URL. And also it's following, right? That basically check switch between whether they are following the person or you are here to follow the person. Yeah, so let's record that in the constructor as well and generate a JSON serialization, right? So let's fix the error over here, right? So we need to pass in the ID, the username, the profile image URL, and also the is following. So basically it's following the return type of this is going to be Boolean, right? That's basically true or false. So let's fix that. So below that, I'm going to have a list of suggested followers, right? That comes with a unique ID, username, profile image URL, and its following property. So in here, I can just create an instance of the suggested follower over here, right? That's going to be final suggested follower. Then we create the follower. Let's require that in the constructor as well. So with the circle avatar, we generate a unique avatar for each follower, right? So we'll be accessing the image from online. So with the network image, you can pass in the API endpoint where you want to access the image, right? So I'll be doing that quick over here. So to generate a unique avatar for each follower, you access the username of that follower and that will generate a unique avatar for each follower. Let's get rid of the cons in here. So let's provide a background color to this circle avatar, right? And that's going to be colors.white. So let's set the extension of the to PNG. Let's get rid of this suggested follower, right? So you are going to spread out the suggested follower and map, right? You're going to have a single follower. So and for each follower, you'll be returning the suggested follower. So that's basically it. Then we need to pass in the follower. So let's save in the changes over here. There we go. You can see. Let's convert that to a list. There we go. You can see it's pretty much working as expected, right? So in here, let's change the name over here to be follower.username and also the subtitle to be follower.username.lowercase. So to know whether the person you are following the person or you are here to follow the person, right? You are going to base on the follower dot is following, right? So if you are following, you are going to return a test of following. So we'll be returning a test of following, else we'll be returning a test of follow, right? So follower dot is following is basically a boolean that can be true or false. So if true, then we'll be returning the following, else we'll be returning the follow. So let's save in the changes. There you go, as you can see the effect. So let's start the following text, right? So if you're following, you're going to give it a color of gray, right? So with the text style, you provide a color, and the color is going to be colors.gray. There you go. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So we are down the free screen, set screen. Let's move on to the post screen, right? So basically the post screen is going to pop up a sliding up panel, right? So I'll add a dependency known as the sliding up panel, right? So Flutter pop add sliding up panel. There we go. So once we have a dependency being added, let's create an instance of the sliding up panel controller. Yeah, so we'll be having our panel controller. So the body of the scaffold is going to return the panel controller, and the panel controller takes in the controller where we pass in our panel controller. And also let's set the main height to be 0, and also the max height, right? So the max height is going to be 80% of the screen, right? So we use the media query dot of context dot size dot height. Then we multiply that by 0.8, and that basically takes 80% of the screen height. So let's provide a border radius, right? So border radius dot only, right? Then we pass in the top left. It's going to be radius dot circular, a value of 25, and also the top right. That's where we want to apply those rounded corners. Top right is going to be radius dot circular, a value of 25. Oops. You also need to pass in the panel builder, right? That's basically a function that takes in the scroll controller. So in here you'll be returning a post screen. There you go. So below this, the body of the sliding panel is going to be the pages of our selected index. There you go. So within on tab, right, let's check for the index of 2. That's where we are going to put and pop up the sliding panel. So if our index is equal to 2, you call the panel controller and check for its panel open. So if its panel is open, I'm going to return the panel controller dot close. Else I'm going to return panel controller dot open, right? That's going to affect only the index of 2. Else we are going to set state and assign our index to the selected index. Let's save in the changes. So that's basically the function for popping up the panel, right? So in here, let's set the panel controller to close if you are not at index at 2, right? So you can see the effect over here, right? There we go. So the next step is to work within the post screen, right? So we are going to return a column over here, right? And the column, as usual, takes in the children, right? So in here, we'll be having a row. The row is going to take in the children that aligns its widget horizontally. So we are going to have a text button with an on press and also the child. And the child is also going to take in the text, right? And the text of the text button is going to be cancel. So that functionality will just pop off the panel controller. So let's wrap the column within the padding of all size 8. So let's style the cancel by changing the color of the cancel text to colors.black and saving the changes. There you go. And also let's bold in the text as well. So below the text button or next to the text button is going to be a test of a new thread. There we go. So let's proceed to start the test as well. Font weight of bold. Now, so let's provide a font size of 17. Let's save in the changes. So with the row, let's set the main axis alignment to be main axis alignment or space between. There we go. So next to a test with the new thread is going to be a test button that will handle the functionality in posting the test, right? There we go. It's looking pretty much cool. So let's wrap the row within a pattern. The pattern is going to be symmetric, right? So with the horizontal, let's give it a pattern of 8. That will affect the left and right. So below the pattern is going to be a divider widget, right? And passing a thickness of 1. Let's save in the changes over here. There we go. So below that, we are going to have a row with the children, right? And in there, we are going to have a circle avatar with a foreground image, right? And the foreground image is going to be an asset image from our directory, right? And the path of this asset image is profile.png. So let's save in the changes. There you go. So let's increase the radius of the circle avatar, right? So let's set that to 25. So below the circle avatar is going to be a size box where it's going to be width. Let's rather set a width to 14. And below that, we are going to have an expanded widget that takes up the available space, right? So the chart of this expanded widget is going to be a column with the children. So in here, we are going to have a test, right? That displays the user name over here. So with the column, let's set the cross-axis alignment to be cross-axis alignment of start. And saving the changes. There we go. So let's start the username by bolding the text. So we set a font weight to font weight.bold. So below that is going to be another test. Sorry, it's going to be a test form field, right? That's the input. So with the input, let's pass a decoration. It's going to be an input decoration, right? So let's set some hint text. The hint text is going to be start a thread. So let's provide it a hint style, right? That basically takes in the text style. And let's set the font size to be 14. And let's get rid of the underline input border, right? So with that, let's set the input border to be input border.none. There we go. You can see. So that's basically it, where you can actually post. So in here, let's set the main axis alignment to be main axis alignment dot start. There you go. So let's wrap the row within a pattern, right? And this pattern is only going to affect the top a value of 8. Rather. There you go. I think that's pretty much it. In here we need to set the max line to be null so we can have the test wrapping up. So let's add the functionality to the cancel button, right? So within our home, we need to pass in the panel controller to the post screen, so we can use that within the post screen, right? So it's not going to be const anymore. I need to add the name parameter over there. Also need to be doing same over here and get rid of the const. You are solving an error. The instant member panel controller can be accessed in an initializer. Okay, so I'll just grab all these pages, right? So initially it's going to be an empty array, and within an init state over here, right, we are going to initialize the pages with this list of pages, right? So with that we can get rid of the errors. So let's try to import the screens as well. There you go. Let's save any changes. I think we don't have any more error. So let's require this dot panel controller, and let's create a variable to hold the panel controller as well. So with the cancel button within the onPress, we're going to set a widget dot panel controller dot close. So this the function that basically close the panel. So when you click, you can see the effect over there. I think that's pretty much it. See you in our next tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.